Your Honor, the Rock Hill Police Department is requesting a bond denial on the charges against Sam Robinson today. The reason for that is patently clear. On February 25th, 2019, Mr. Robinson acquired a handgun with the express purpose of committing acts of violence in the city of Rock Hill. While the full details of the motive are still being uncovered, one thing we know for certain is that Mr. Robinson's actions are tied to criminal gang activity on his part. After Mr. Robinson obtained the weapon, he opened fire on McCullough's home, Malik McCullough's home at 632 Chestnut Street, not once, but on two separate occasions that night. McCullough's parents were home at the time, and they suffered the terror of that event. Their home and vehicle were riddled with bullets. It did not end there, though. The next day, through a premeditated plan, Mr. Robinson utilized the misplaced trust of his friends, Malik McCullough and Zuinquarius McCrorey, and got into a vehicle with them as they hung out that day on the 26th. The victims eventually got to a point that day where they needed to get ready for work. So as they pulled up in front of Malik McCullough's home, and without any warning, Mr. Robinson shot both victims in the back of their heads. The vehicle, which was still in drive, began rolling down Chestnut Street, and as Mr. Robinson jumped out, he went and attempted to hide the murder weapon. After the vehicle crashed into a fence, Mr. Robinson ran back to the vehicle and attempted to act like he was rendering aid to those victims. There was insufficient evidence on that day of the murder to charge Mr. Robinson, so he was released. His family then took him up to Charlotte in an effort to hide him from the police and to hide him from those who were seeking revenge for McCullough and McCrorey's murders. Your Honor, in all the cases that I have personally investigated over the last 12 years, I have not dealt with someone who better defines the term a threat to society. We believe that this young man unquestionably must be kept off of our streets and away from our citizens throughout the duration of this investigation.
The other victim of the homicide is Mr. McCrorey. Today he's represented by his family. His mom, Stephanie McClinton, and his uncle, Timothy Williams, both wish to speak.
All right. And Kate, who else wanted to speak?
His uncle.
His uncle? Would you like to go first?
I can.
Okay. And you're Mr. Williams?
Yes, Mr. Williams. I'm the uncle of McCrorey. We just come today to be a voice for him, knowing that he has no voice now. We want the court to know that we are in pain. This is the second such tragedy that we've dealt with in the last 8 months, the same way. So we're in pain today, and we are asking the court to deny bond because we just don't know what to think. Him being in the car with them, portraying to be a friend, and then shooting them like the way that he did. The mother's in pain. You see her today. We still grieving over things, like I said previous, and now we got to grieve through this, and we just asking that the court just deny bond.